So what are some of the other like foundational, I guess, universal relationship goals that we can think of?
Love. I don't know how we missed this one. Like, this was one of the most important things.
Welcome back to another episode of In Comes the
Money.
My name is Pekens.
And my name's Deniqua.
So today we're talking about relationship goals, finding love. So relationship goals, you see that as a hashtag everywhere. And I guess different people have different ideas about what relationship
Different
goals,
perspectives, yeah.
what it is, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. But before we get into that, we have a Would You Rather?
Yes. So our Would You Rather for today, we actually have two. So the first one is going to be, would you rather spend 2 years with your soulmate only to have them die and you never love again? Or would you rather spend your life with someone nice that you settled for?
I actually forgot what they were, so it's actually a complete surprise to me. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah, but
it's a tough one.
He doesn't tell me before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he says. So I'll just say them again. So the first one: 2 years with your soulmate, only to have them die and you never love again, or spend your life with someone nice that you settled for.
Do you want to go first, or should
I? I can go first. I want to choose the 2 years with a soulmate, but having them die after 2 years, 2 years is not enough. I feel like because they're obviously going to die. Like, they're probably going to die suddenly. So I'm not going to know that it's like, that it's going to happen. And I'm probably not going to know that I'll never love them again. Or I'll never love again. And like, I want kids, and when you meet someone and you get married and you fall in love like that, you basically like envision your whole life with them. And I feel like having that ripped away from you after 2 years, like, I don't think that I choose that. I think I choose, I definitely choose someone that I would get to spend my life with, but they're nice and hopefully respectful and we get along, and I know that I will be able to spend my lifetime with them and we will grow to love each other and be like soulmates.
So you're saying that nice guys don't always have to finish last?
No, they don't, especially not in these would you rather situations.
Got it. But this is your soulmate.
But my soulmate for only 2 years. Like, obviously, like, I want kids. I want a whole life with someone. So knowing that I have to choose between 2 years with a soulmate or lifetime with someone that's nice, I mean, it's, for me, it's a no-brainer. I want the lifetime. What about you?
I would definitely choose.
You always make it so dramatic. I know you're going to choose the same one.
I would choose.
Oh my gosh. Do you see this?
No, I'm going with the nice girl.
See?
Yeah, definitely. Because for some of the same reasons that you mentioned, if I know that you're going to die in 2 years, then I also can't plan a whole life with you.
But even, what if you didn't know?
If I didn't know, then I'd choose the first one. Because, like, that's just how it is right now. Yeah. You don't know if I'm going to die.
You're not?
Yeah.
We're going to die old together.
Exactly, yeah. But then it'll just be, like, regular. Because no one ever knows anything about, like, the future, about how you're going to die.
That's a good point.
So I definitely choose the stronger connection if I didn't know if we're going to, if she's going to die in 2 years. But if I do know, I would rather choose to have an indefinite or an unspecified amount of time with someone that is nice to me and we get along.
Someone's nice, but you did settle for them.
But I did settle, and yeah, and I didn't. Well, yeah, I'd rather choose that, because you can always work on a relationship and build it and make it great.
And grow to love someone more
Exactly.
than.
It's especially if you have the foundations of a if you especially if you have the qualities of someone of a good relationship
Yeah, and I feel like
established.
love is like so complex and
Mm-hmm.
like as you go through different stages and also like the time that you spend with someone. So you're spending this lifetime with them. So all those shared experiences, like you will grow like very like fond of them. You
Yeah,
will start to really love them even if in the beginning you settled for them.
yeah. And why would you ever choose a mean person? You know what I mean? Like a nice person.
Why did it say someone nice
Yeah,
instead of.
like I think that's an easy choice because you want someone that's going to treat you right. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I would always choose someone that is nice to me. But I guess your soulmate would be nice to you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's your soulmate. Okay. All right. Cool.
So, let us know what you guys think. I'm curious if you choose 2 years with your soulmate only to have them die and you never love again, or spend your lifetime with someone nice that you settle for.
Yep. And because we love this segment so much, we have a second one. So on to the next. Would you rather?
So our second one, this one's really fun. So, would you rather find true love today or win the lottery next year?
And this is before we met each other, and we're not married in this
Yeah,
scenario.
we didn't meet, we didn't know each other yet. So instead of the day that we met each other, would we have chosen to meet each other on that day or win the lottery next year?
It's a tough one.
So true love today, lottery next year. You go first. I already know. I know what you're gonna choose. I know what I'm gonna choose.
Hmm. Um. Okay. So the year that I met you, I was very very ambitious and trying to accomplish a whole bunch of goals, but was also looking for a wife. As weird as this sounds, I was, um, and luckily I found you. Um, with that being said, let's tell everyone what the last lottery winnings
Yeah,
were.
so there was one in Wisconsin and it was $120 million. So would you rather find true love today or win $120 million next year?
Yes. So my answer is I'd win the lottery and then I'll
I knew
find
you
you.
would. I knew you would. I mean, I do the same thing. Like we all want to find love, but like even with this scenario, we're not assuming that like you'll never find love.
Yep.
It's just like we can put this off for a little bit if we know that we're gonna win the lottery.
Not only that, like, uh, um, after winning the lottery, I'll manage the money and make sure that it's in a good
You'll
place.
build your empire.
I'll build an empire, and then when I do meet you, a few weeks later, um,
A few weeks later, look at this. He's assuming that okay, you win the lottery. You're basically gonna like win the lottery twice because you're gonna find your. Oh my gosh.
it doesn't say you can't. So yeah, so after winning the lottery, make sure I put the money in the right place, be smart with it, and all of that, and make sure that when when we get in a relationship together, you're not getting in a relationship with someone that doesn't have it together financially. I got it together.
Apparently, you'll have 120 million. Hopefully, it still will exist at least
Come
in some.
on, come on. So I think a lot of times people when you win the lottery, you don't know what to do
Blow
because
it
you're not
all,
ready
and
for
then you
it.
start loaning out, basically gifting everyone, buying
Yeah,
everybody houses.
yeah. But I've always had a not a cheap mindset, but I've always looked at money as
You've had a scarcity mindset. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I always respected money because I know that it takes sacrifice to get it, and you don't just blow it away just because you have it. So um, if you want to have fun, that's an investment. That's okay. You spend money to have fun. If you want to invest it so that you
You
can
still spend all your money to have fun.
exactly. And growing up, I knew that if you have money, you do as much as you make that money stretch. You know, like my mom would go to different grocery stores and whatnot to make sure that she gets this low price here, that low price there, and she'd feed us for a while on on a small budget, and you know, that doesn't have to stop because you get rich. You know, because
It's
you're just
just,
gonna buy more expensive stuff.
yeah, you're just talking about being smart with your money.
Yep. Yeah. So
So
lottery
lottery
it
it is.
is.
Oh my gosh. All right. So for this one, tell us what you guys think. If you guys would rather, like, let's say, even if you're married, just pretend you're not married for this scenario, and consider if you would have met your spouse on the day you met them, or would you rather win the lottery the next year? But you could still meet your spouse. You never know. So think about it and let us know in the comments what you think.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what other people say, but definitely mention that this is a scenario where you're not currently together, not currently married, 'cause that could lead.
Yeah, when you share this with your spouse,
Yeah,
definitely preface that
that
for
could be
sure.
uncomfortable. Okay, so if this is your first time listening or watching us, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. We don't want to just be the only one sharing our content. That's kind of weird. That's kind of whack.
But
That
yeah,
means we're not doing something right.
I mean, if you guys like it, you share it. Other people will probably enjoy it too,
Mm-hmm.
especially our would you rather's. I
Yep.
love them.
If you find some value in it, share it to somebody else so that they can benefit from it as
Yeah,
well.
even just one person, that's the best way you can support us for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
And if you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast platform,
Apple
or
Podcasts and
even
Google Podcasts.
yeah, like whichever platform that you're listening to, if you can still go on Apple Podcasts and review us, because they're the only ones that have like real reviews or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
That would be very helpful to us.
And yeah, if you're listening,
And Spotify, you can rate.
you can follow.
Oh yes, yeah.
But if you are listening, we also have the show on YouTube, so you can actually see our reactions, and you can also see some of the clips on social media, specifically Facebook and Instagram.
Yep. At In Comes the Money everywhere.
Yep.
Okay, so let's get into this topic. Relationship goals. Hashtag relationship goals. Finding love. So are there any
So, what is relationship goals? Let's start there.
I think people look at relationship goals as something that is specific to whatever they're looking at the moment. You scroll through a picture on Instagram, and then you see something that resonates with something that you like, and then you're like, that's something that I would definitely want. I like how they are in business together and they're doing X, Y, or Z. That's something that I would want to see with my partner in the future. So you resonate, like that resonates with you, and you say that's relationship goals. But I think it depends on whoever you are. So one relationship goal might not be
Some people have
someone else's.
relationship goals just to do a matching outfit with their spouse or with
Yeah.
their boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah. Whereas like for me, that doesn't make me excited, although it's cool. But I wouldn't put hashtag
He doesn't like
relationship
to
goals.
match me. That's what he's trying to say.
I'm not saying that because it is cool. The pictures be looking good. But for me, that's not something that like, oh man, I can't wait until we can start matching outfits and stuff like that. And that's okay. Like your relationship goals don't have to be someone else's.
Exactly.
So I think it all starts with you and what you want. What is something that is a vision of yours, and find someone that has it doesn't have to be the same vision. It probably shouldn't be the same vision, but but they have a vision, and then it integrates with yours. And
Well,
if they
I guess it
integrate,
can be the same vision in a way because you're just talking about a vision for the relationship. So, like a goal for what the relationship looks like. So, I think
hmm
that should align.
yes, okay. I think I was saying more like vision in life.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you like if you want to be a traveling nurse for the rest of your life,
Hmm.
right? That's your vision for you. And I want to be a doctor, but I don't want to travel. So that means that like, and that's something that I'm not changing, and that's something that you're not changing. But everything else we're compatible with, and I also definitely want to see you every day. And
See, but you just described their vision for their life alone.
yes,
But
but
I feel like when you're talking about like relationship goals and thinking about life with someone else, you can't just be like, I want only this and like not leave room for anyone else.
I think I think initially that is how you have to do it,
Mm,
because if you don't know what you want for your life, you're going to sway left and right with whatever the other person says because you don't really have a foundation. So it has to be selfish in the beginning. You have to say, because you don't know the other person yet.
true.
So you can't just predict that, oh, but they might do this, they might not want that. That prediction should be left to should be done after you've established what it is that would make you happy, what it is you want. And that, like, if you want to be a traveling nurse for the rest of your life, make that something that like, and you know you will be unhappy if you do something different.
Hmm.
Then there's your criteria. Someone that is okay with that, or maybe willing to travel with you, and then that person will, his vision will have to integrate with yours. Now let's look at the flip side. If you are willing to be flexible, knowing that will make you unhappy, that will be a bad move because you'll start resenting that person for changing their initial selfish vision.
So so what would you say the relationship goal is in that situation?
Um, Well, if they find a common ground,
Hmm.
they're willing to compromise and say, okay, um, you can do. I'd be willing to do Doctors Without Borders or whatever. I don't
Hmm.
really know the terms of the program, but if I said, I'd be willing to travel with you as long as we don't um, as long as we stay at least a year within the places that we travel,
Hmm.
and that's my compromise, then I respect your vision. I'm not trying to change you. You won't resent me for changing your entire vision and just living in some suburb and not going anywhere. Um, and I'll be happy because we're not just packing up and leaving every month or so, or you
Every month. Oh
or
my
I
god.
never see you
Uh-huh.
because you're always somewhere different and I'm
Yeah.
just coming home and no one else is there. And how are we going to raise our kids? You know? So if we can come to some kind of compromise and make it work, then that vision becomes, we've created a new vision. You have
Hmm.
your vision, I have my vision, and we've created a mutual vision together based on compromises and our collective goals and objectives. So that would be the goal. The goal in the relationship in this case is to integrate both of our visions so that we can still love each other and have a life that we both want.
Yeah. No, I like that. That sounds good.
Yeah.
So as you bring that up, are there any like universal relationship goals that you feel like can really apply to anyone in whatever relationship, like something they should like strive towards?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are the non-glamorous ones, like the basics, like the person got to be nice to you. You know what I mean?
You
The
mean like respectful?
respectful.
You
Yeah, I
like
think
that?
it all starts with respect. Good. Yeah, that's it. The person got to respect you. If the person don't respect you for whatever reason, um, then you're going to have a lot of problems.
I feel like respect, it definitely trickles. Like it's like one of the foundations because if you don't respect like people who aren't like loyal, for example, they
Hmm
they may not respect the person. People who don't communicate effectively, or, you know, maybe they're like verbally abusive, they don't respect the person. So I feel like the respect foundation is the start, you know, for a lot of other things, and they kind of branch off of respect.
Yeah. And it'd be great if you can identify lack of respect early on. Because the more you forgive it, the worse it's gonna be. Because you start forgiving it early on, and then when it gets worse, it's
one of those things, like you're describing seeing a red flag and saying, oh, it's not that bad, but like someone not respecting you, like it opens the door for so many other things to potentially happen in a relationship.
And I think it can be very difficult to see the superficial and forgive the basics because of the superficial image that you see. Like, oh, this person's so pretty and they have this and they have that going for them, but they don't really respect me. But maybe I can change that person. Is that a good way to look at it? And why?
Because how do you convince someone to give you the respect that you already deserve? You know what I mean? Like, if they don't respect you now, what makes you think you can convince them to respect you?
Yeah, that's
like, how do you convince? Like, how do you do that?
That's the thing. Like, people are able to grow, but it's really hard to change someone if they're telling you who they are. So it while you can contribute to the growth of somebody and the way that they treat you,
it's their own walk. It's something they have to do on their own.
Yeah, they're going to have to take the steps themselves. And that, like, I think because you can't guarantee that this person will change to match the image that you have for them, that shouldn't be something that is like something that you think will actually happen. Because you can really be disappointed if if they quack like a duck, look like a duck. You know what I mean? They're not a cow.
I mean,
and don't look at them as their cow.
So it's one of those things, like, really, if someone is acting a certain way, they always say, what do they say? Pay attention to the way someone acts, and not
what they say.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone is saying, you know, oh, you know, I love you, I want this to work, but then their actions don't match and they're not respectful, they don't act like they love you, do they really love you just because they said it?
Yeah. No. So, like, maybe don't go into a relationship expecting to change someone. You can go into a relationship with someone that you feel has great potential, and they have things to work on, because we all do. We all have flaws that we can work on, and you have to also be willing to work on it and show evidence that you're trying to make progress. Because that all goes down to what you said earlier. It's respect. If you respect the other person enough, you will try to integrate your visions together, and you will try to work on a compromise. So all of that comes with respect. The way you communicate has to be respectful. The way you treat the other person has to be respectful. And if you don't have that, you don't have anything, really. You just have an image. You just have maybe a picture for Instagram. But then you go home and then you're not happy.
You just have the titles, but you don't really match up to what the titles should mean, or what you even envisioned the titles to mean. So like, bring it all the way back to what your relationship goals were before you got into this relationship, or started talking to this person. If the way it is currently isn't what you envisioned, are you working towards your goal? Are your goals aligned?
Yep. So the first universal, and this isn't in any order,
And this is all just our perspective. This isn't some official rule book. This is just some things that,
Good disclaimer. We're not therapists, psychologists, or anything like that. We're not experts in relationship counseling, but we are in a relationship and we have a perspective and we're just sharing it. If it pertains to you and it provides value, then take it. And let us know if you have any other suggestions or if you disagree or agree.
Yeah, if you and if you don't agree, you don't like our advice, you can just disregard it. We have so many different episodes. So this one is about relationships, but other episodes are about different things. So stay tuned for some other topics.
Yeah. So one of the universal relationship goals that we mentioned is respect. That's a big one. We also talked about integrating your vision and creating a mutual vision together in life. If you can create that, that's goals, right? Like if you can create a mutual vision with someone and it works and it's effortless, well, it doesn't have to be like, and it like it just works. Everything just makes sense. That's goals.
Yeah. Well, it's because the person that you're with, you guys are going to be together and working on the relationship together, working on your future together. So you want, your visions to align and you want them to be able to integrate because you guys are going to be doing it together. Yeah. So you can't compare what you want in your relationship and your relationship goals to other people because they want different things.
Yeah. You're always going to be at war if you want different things. And like, it's like you're playing tug of war with your relationship. You're pulling it one way, I'm pulling it another way, and we both believe that our way is the better way, but we don't have common ground to say, let's go the same way. And that way, like, we won't be fighting each other. It'll be effortless. We'll just be walking, holding the rope. As opposed to, because if we're pulling the rope different places, none of us are going anywhere.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Oh my God.
So what are some of the other like foundational, I guess, universal relationship goals that we can think of?
Love. I don't know how we missed this one. Like this was one of the most important things. But I mean, I guess they're kind of the other things matter too, but love is really important,
Love conquers all.
But I mean,
that's a good one.
It is. But you can't, if you love someone, you should respect them. And if you love them and want to be in a relationship with them, you guys should be working towards your shared vision. So I feel like most of these relationship goals, like they integrate, but you need to love your partner.
It's funny though. I can see why that came a little bit later than the other ones. Because love comes later. You meet somebody, because we're talking about finding a partner.
Yeah.
Finding a partner. You don't have that partner yet. You're looking for a partner. Love will come later. It doesn't come immediately. And if it comes immediately, something's not right. Because you don't know the person yet.
Is it love if it comes immediately?
If it comes immediately, I don't think that's love.
You don't believe in love at first sight?
I think you have to, like, unless your sight can tell you exactly.
Oh my gosh. All right, go on.
Unless your sight can tell you exactly who this person is, how you guys are going to be able to work together, if you're compatible, your sight doesn't have that kind of vision. But what your sight can tell you is, she's pretty.
So pretty isn't enough?
Pretty is unfortunately not enough. People don't talk about that though.
Yeah.
Like it sounds really nice. Ooh, love at first sight and I'm not knocking those that believe it, but I think there's something missing beyond just the one sense, which is sight. There are other things that help you make a good decision, and I think that there's attraction at first sight, definitely, and when like that can
I mean, you can love the way someone looks, but that doesn't mean like you're in love. Yeah, you're in love with them.
Yeah. I love the way you look. when I first met you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Do you want to talk about how we first met?
Sure.
All right.
You can do it. We have differing stories. We remember it differently.
All right. Let me say the true story.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then you can say your story.
Whatever.
So there was this event that was happening at my church up in North Jersey. It's a French-speaking church, and she doesn't speak a lick of French.
Nope.
So it was actually, I don't know, God led her.
So he lived in North Jersey and went to a church in North Jersey. I lived in South Jersey and my church was down there.
Yeah, and we were having this youth night, and I'm in the back with the cameras and I'm trying to like get some footage, and I went to I think I went to change the batteries of the camera or something like that, and I'm at the back, and then I see Dee with two other girls, and
my two friends, Samantha and Kaylor.
Yeah, and I was busy, but I was like, you know what? I got a little bit of time. I got a little bit of time. Let me walk up and what?
Nothing.
Well, let me say.
I'm just listening.
Let me just say the true story. If I'm lying, let me know. So yeah, I put the camera down. I was like, I'm not gonna need that, and I walked up, and then I said, "Hey, ladies." Man, I haven't said this story in a while.
No, it wasn't "Hey ladies." I was standing by myself. They were like standing maybe like 5-10 feet behind me because I was looking into the church.
Okay.
Because so the church was having an event, but it was packed. There were so many people there, and there weren't enough seats. And unfortunately, there wasn't anyone like directing or anyone like ushering people to seats. So it was just like a free for all. You had to find your own seats. So I was like looking for seats, and I tell you, there was none. Like there wasn't any. And we were getting worried because, mind you, this church was like over an hour away. Like this event was far. And we were like, if we can't find a seat, we're not going to stand in the hall for this concert. We're just going to go home. So we were really considering just driving all the way back home. So I was looking inside, and they were standing behind me about like 5-10 feet. There were like 2 chairs in the hall. And I'm looking in, and then Pekens walks up.
So that's when I walked up. What did I say?
You just said like, "Hey, are you looking for a seat or something?" It wasn't like super smooth. It was just like a regular conversation.
It was actually really smooth.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
all right. That part, it was just regular. I think I just said something like, "Hi, do you need any help? Are you looking for a seat or anything?" And then she said, "Yeah, actually."
And he was looking good. He had on his slim fit suit. Apparently that was his only one at the time.
Yeah, but I made sure if I knew like I was gonna potentially
He was looking for a
somebody,
wife, so he was like,
yeah. So that year it's so weird because that year, I said to myself, I want to. It's time. I think I want to find a good wife.
It's time.
I think I want to find a wife. But I say that because I have like the way my mind works is I'm in a box for like. I have to have certain focuses at a time, and before that it was all business. I was trying to like build the most successful business, at least in my eyes, and anything outside of that was a distraction.
A wife or a girlfriend would have been a distraction. That's what he's saying.
It would have like I wouldn't have been,
such a guy.
but it wouldn't have been fair to you to say that I do have time when I didn't.
The curb.
Yeah, and
you would have never talked to me. You would have been so busy.
Exactly, and it's all because of bad timing.
Yeah,
not because I'm a bad guy or you're not a great match for me, but bad timing. You like I know myself, so I knew that if we met a year before, I wouldn't have been ready. I would have been too distracted.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So during that period of time, I said to myself, I want to make time for this. This is something that I do want. It's a goal of mine. So I would go to different concerts and gatherings and events and all types of, like, I would tell people, I'm looking for somebody, I put myself out there.
You were really looking like you were going to events, but it was all Haitians. You were looking for.
No, I didn't just go to Haitian events. I don't just have Haitian friends.
It was mainly
you put me in a box.
It was mainly events at like Haitian churches. You went to some other ones, but think about it. Like,
yeah, the church events were church events, but I didn't just go to church events. And even if it was a church event, I also went to English speaking churches. I explored it all.
So we actually met in November. So it was like the end of his search year.
Yeah. So time was running out, and that's okay. I mean, I'm saying a plan, but the
time was running out.
But yeah, like you, because part of it is you try your best to prepare, and then you wait, because like you do as much as you can within your control, and then what's out of your control, you don't worry about.
Yeah.
You know, I have no control over if you were going to show up or not.
So you just walk around holding that camera, hoping you find a girl?
Yeah. Or or without the camera. The camera has no significance in this.
No, for that event. Because you were using
You know what? That is a good way to meet people.
Oh my gosh.
Walking around with a camera, being the camera person for an event is a great way to meet people.
Oh my gosh.
Because then they want to see the picture. You like that? Yeah.
So you're giving our listeners some tips.
Hey, if you can't take pictures, don't do it. So I'm not like don't.
All right,
take that.
Finish with the story. So you were charging the camera. You asked if I needed a seat.
Yeah. So I walked up and then I asked her if you're looking for a seat, and then she said yeah. So I knew that this was a tough task, an impossible task, because
it was packed.
I was just in there and there were no seats available. So I'm walking into a potential failure. I walked down the aisle. That sounds weird. I walked down to the I got to the front of the church. Like
during the concert, he went to the front of the church.
I was basically on the stage.
And it's a big church too. There was just a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm looking out everywhere to see like if I'm just scanning all of the pews to see like if there's any empty spots, and then I spotted a lump of jackets. It was just like a lump of coats on one of the benches, and then I walked up to the person sitting next to the coats, to the pile of coats, and then I said, "Hey, is anyone sitting here?" And then he said, "No." He started to move it. I was like, "No, don't move it." Don't move it, because as soon as you lift that coat, someone's gonna sit right there.
Someone's gonna appear, emerge.
So I said, "Don't move it. I have a few guests that are gonna come in, and I'd like them to have these spots." So then I walked back. Oh man, I felt so good, because this was something impossible. I don't know what I would have done if I couldn't find a spot.
Would have ruined your chances.
It would have ruined everything. I would have just went back to my camera and went, well, it is what it is. So that's when the smoothness turned on, because I was more confident. So I went up to her and then I said, bad news is it's really packed in there. There are like no seats available, but I was able to make an exception for 3 beautiful ladies, and
he did actually say that.
You happen to make the cut.
Oh my gosh.
So if you follow me, I have some seats for you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then they followed me, and then I felt like the man at that time, because I got seats for them, and I'm still hoping that no one took those seats. I don't know if they was gonna sit on the coats.
As he's walking us down, you're wondering like.
Yeah, but I had reason to have hope, so I held on to the hope. Mm-hmm. And then the seat was available. I removed had the coach removed. You guys sat, and then that was that, right? For that,
and they were actually pretty good seats. I was surprised at what he found.
Yeah, me too. I ain't do nothing impressive. I got lucky.
That's true.
So yeah, the event happened, and then that was done, and I wanted to follow up. So, yeah.
You found us in the aisle or in the foyer area.
Yeah. So I walked up to them, and then we just started talking. What's your name? This and that, and yeah, I said something corny.
You're not gonna tell him what the corny thing was?
You can.
So he was trying to tell us his name, and apparently, I think my friend Samantha went to grab something. So I think when she came back, she was asking what his name was, but she couldn't hear him or understand what he was saying. So he was like, "My name's Pekens," and then she's like, "Wait,
She
what?"
never heard a name like that.
Yeah, it's very unique. So she was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Pekens, you know, you peek in."
With an S, I guess. But, yeah, it was.
And we all just like, we're like mortified when he said that for him. We're like, did you just do that?
Yes,
Like
I
he
did.
like, for those listening, like he signaled like peeking in. Like it was pretty bad.
Yes,
but
I
we
did.
all did laugh.
Yep.
So he did get us to laugh. So he
Yep.
like broke some ice and was very vulnerable.
Yep, you got to be vulnerable. Like I know it was corny, but it was also me. You know, like you can be naturally smooth, but if that's you, then that works. You know,
Oh my
but
gosh.
but for me, like it made them laugh, and I was comfortable. It was good energy.
Yeah, he loosened us up.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to that's important. So yeah, and then we started just some regular small talk. We exchanged
Social media.
social media.
Uh-huh.
I got your friends' Instagrams.
This was before the DMs.
Yeah,
so
this was before DMs.
he got their Instagram and he got my Facebook.
And I got her Facebook.
That was a very specific distinction that
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on, but one of my friends did.
Very subtle, but I knew that with Facebook, I can
Do some research.
I can do some research. I could really figure out more. Like I could figure out more about this person.
What year was this? This was 2014?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this was 2014.
Yeah, 2014. And I knew that I would be able to, I guess, dig into your life a little bit more with Facebook.
And I mean, you went back pretty far probably.
And so did you, don't lie.
But you know what's funny? So when we met, I was 20
Mm-hmm.
and you were 23.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't sure how old I was because you quickly reached high school.
Yeah, I'm like scrolling high school. What the? Yeah. But I also didn't post much on social media. She didn't post that much on social media. So we started talking about the after event, or the event that's happening after this event.
Yeah, it was a 2-part event. So they had the concert, and then they had like a skating event at like a local like rink or something. It was like it was a youth federation event.
Mm-hmm. So it was, yeah. So the skating night, I knew I wanted to go, but I wanted her to want me to go with.
So we said like, hey, you know, are you going to the second part? Are you going to the skating? And he's like, no, you know, I didn't bring clothes. And we were like, what? Where you live like around the corner? Like go home and get clothes. Like that's your excuse?
Yeah. Well, I didn't say no exact. I was like, well, I'm thinking about it.
No,
but
you said no, I wasn't planning on it. I didn't bring clothes.
But anyway, whatever I said, it worked because it was like, you know, they're giving me reasons why I should go.
And he's like smiling.
I was like, okay, I guess. Yeah.
I'll go.
We could make that happen. So it worked. They were gonna go to the skating night, and I was gonna go as well. So yeah, that was decided, and I drove there because that's my expectation. We're all gonna go over there. Went home. So yeah, went home and then changed and then went over to the skating night. And I'm over there waiting. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really cool. It's like a first date, really, you know?
Oh my gosh.
So time passed by, and I was like, you know, let me get the skates. Let me just get this started. So I started skating, and I remember
slow skating.
And I remember we added each other on Facebook. So that's my only way to communicate with you. I'm like, yo, is you still coming? Because it's getting late now. You're late to our first date.
He ain't say that. He
No,
would have
no.
lost all his credit.
Nah, of course. That's weird. Yeah, so
You
then
want me to take over now?
went on Facebook Messenger. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
I went on Facebook Messenger, and then I said to you, hey, are you still coming? Right?
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, I'm just skating by myself, just lonely. There's a slow song going on, and I'm just over here like sad and worried because
oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can take over now.
So after we left him at the church and he said, "Oh, I'll think about going or whatever," we were like, "Okay, so we're hungry." So mind you, we're not like that familiar with North Jersey, and we didn't type in any of these addresses. So we just was like, "Okay, like let's go to Panera Bread or something." So then we just type it in the GPS and then we go there. So we're hanging out, we're eating Panera, feet kicked up, and then we're like, "Oh yeah, we got to go to the second part." Like
Oh yeah.
we're like, "Oh yeah, so let's put in the GPS. Let's head over there." So we put it in the GPS and we're like, this is so far. We must have gone more north and the skating rink was more south. And we were like, man, you got to pay for skates and stuff. And we'll only be there for like a half hour. I'm not sure it's worth it to go. And you know what? People weren't really that friendly when we were there. So, well, other than Pekens was friendly, and because we didn't really talk to anyone else, so we were like, you know what, we'll just head home.
They never showed up. She never showed up. And not only that, I wasn't even she wasn't even messaging me.
You said
I was messaging her on Facebook.
Stop.
And it was her friend.
So I was the one driving. So I was like, oh my gosh, since we're driving home, like maybe that guy, that guy Pekins, maybe he messaged me. And I gave my phone to my friends and I said, hey, can you like message him? Just like, or can you check and see if he messaged? So then they checked and they were like, oh yeah, like he said like he's there. We were like, oops.
Yeah. So so that happened, but I was like,
but I was honest. I said, hey, we literally lost track of time and it's not even going to make sense because we all would have had to pay for skates to skate for 20 minutes. That's not even worth it. So we were like, so we just decided to go home, but we didn't, feel that, welcomed when we went. You talked to us, but no one else did. So we were like, it's not worth it for us to go.
Yeah. So I followed up with her and I was like, it would have been great if you guys showed up. But it's okay. Let me know when you get home safely. And because I wanted to hook. I wanted to make sure that this wasn't the last time that we talked because she lived far, and I at that but at that time I didn't.
He didn't drive more than like 15 minutes
to most places.
See, but I'm from South Jersey. Like everything was far.
Yeah. So over an hour away was a drive. That's a commitment. That's a you know what I mean?
He wasn't ready to make a commitment, guys.
It's a trip. So yeah, so when she got home, she let me know that she got there safely, and then I told her, next time that you do come by, come up here, I'll make sure that you have a great time and you feel welcomed and all of that.
You was trying to make sure there was a next time.
Exactly. It was all part of the plan.
Oh my gosh.
So then we started, asking each other about each other. Like, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. So when I got home, it was pretty late, but we were messaging a little bit and just talking a little bit. And yeah, like we were talking about, like you kept telling me about an app or something. I forget some stuff you were working on at the time.
I had a whole bunch of projects that I was working on. Yeah, I was trying to build a mobile app at the time, among a whole bunch of other things. Like I said, I was super, super busy, but I also did want to make time for this. But yeah, so we started telling each other about who we are and stuff. And then I told her that I'm not on Facebook or social media that much right now. So I'd love to take this conversation offline. And it'd be great if I can get your number so that we can continue this conversation via text. And then she said, yeah, sure. And she sent me her number. And then I was like, thank you. It was great. It was a pleasure meeting you. Have a great night. Right?
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was gonna call her in the evening, right? Because I was busy all day doing some stuff.
I'm rolling my eyes for those listening. I'm rolling my eyes. He was so busy that he couldn't text.
I was. It was just because I was busy, but I knew I was gonna hit you up later. But she actually texted me first during the day, and then we texted back. Did we text or call?
We texted a little bit, and I think you said you were busy, and then we talked later.
Yeah. So I called her later, and yeah, you did get a lot of my time. You know, we
I
talked for like
did.
5 hours.
Yeah, so the first 2 weeks before we actually met again in person, we talked basically every night and for hours. There
Yeah.
was one night, it was like 5 hours. We talked from like midnight to like 5 a.m. and we both had to be start working at like 9 a.m. Like that was crazy.
And I also
I couldn't do that now.
and I also told her I'm really bad with texting. I'll let you know that right off the bat, because during the day I just have so many different things going on in my head that it's hard for me to like stop everything and then focus on texting the right thing. I mean, it might seem silly to you, but that's what it was for me.
You're gonna focus on texting me.
But we talked a lot.
That's true.
And it made up for it.
It was a compromise because I actually don't really like talking on the phone, and that wasn't something that I do. But that was really important for him. So we kind of met each other. So I did want to get to know him. So we spent a lot of time talking. But he did grow to be a better texter.
Yeah.
But I think you've since regressed. Not with me, with other people.
Yeah, I'm a work in progress. So yeah, where were we?
That was it. We talked, and then
yeah, but the thing that kind of helped us was I think we had to focus a lot on communication because that's all we had. We couldn't hang out or see each other because we had to plan that.
Yeah.
So just being able to just talk allowed us to focus on who are you, who am I, what do you want out of life, what is your vision, what is my vision, and then we're just trying to see how it can fit with our lives.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, we spent hours talking about that kind of stuff.
Yep. But you know, and then we went on our first date, and that was great, I think.
I think it was great. Sorry, I was thinking. So I think because we hadn't seen each other for 2 weeks, and we were basically like, we were talking, but we were exclusively talking. Like we weren't talking to anyone else. So the goal with our like talking and communicating was to lead to a relationship. So basically for us, meeting again in person was basically a way for us to decide if we basically wanted to continue this, if what we've built over just talking over the phone actually was leading to a relationship. And basically we met in person and we were like, yep, this is we're on our way.
Yeah. We were like, this could work. Yeah. Okay, so that is how we met. I think in another episode we could talk about like our first date and then after that. But for the purpose of this episode, this is how we found each other. So we talked about how communication was a big part because we kind of had no choice. And I would also see like, I felt like we talked a lot more than a lot of couples that probably live 5 minutes away from each other. Because we had that limitation, we kind of valued the one thing that we could hold on to, which is talking on the phone.
We didn't have the luxury of seeing each other like, hey, you want to go grab a quick bite to eat for a half hour somewhere, like, and we're 10 minutes away. Like anything we had to do, I mean, we wanted to do, we had to plan. It required more than just hey, what are you doing right now? Because we had to drive, like an hour and a half we were. So it wasn't.
You make the most of it.
Yeah.
You got to plan it.
It'd have to be like we spend a whole Sunday together.
Yeah. So our story isn't gonna be your story. It's like no story is typical. It's always gonna be different. Everyone has their own path, and that's okay. But there are things that you can learn from other people's paths so that you don't trip up the way that someone else did. But how do you find someone that is great for you?
I feel like you have to define what great for you is. Like, so for me, something that was really important to me was really figuring out like what I was looking for in a partner and a spouse. So I actually made a list. I actually made a whole like spreadsheet on my, not spreadsheet, like document on my Mac that basically define my ideal characteristics for my perfect man. So it was an exhaustive list. I literally went and I listed all the things I could think of that were needs and wants. So after I did that, that took a lot of reflection because it made me think about like why this was important to me, and if I really needed or if I just want it or it would be nice. And then after I made that whole list, I went back through the list and I bolded all the things that I needed, things that weren't just superficial, things that were crucial for a relationship with someone. And in doing that, it helped me identify what was really really important to me and what were things I could live without. So I will say, just to give you an example, like on my list, I'm pretty sure I had like tall, dark, and handsome. Does that really matter? No, it doesn't, like in the grand scheme. But God blessed me with the tall, dark, and handsome husband. So it worked out really well. But other things I had on the list, like I wanted I wanted him to be like ambitious. I wanted him to be loving. I wanted him to be honest. I wanted him to be patient. The patience is so important to me because my personality, I'm very fiery and I have a lot of intensity in what I say, and sometimes it can come off the wrong way, or sometimes I can get really passionate about something, and him and Pekins being patient with me as I work through it, as I calm down, just giving me that time and that ability to be able to, realize if I said something wrong, if I did something wrong, kind of just work with me. I feel like if I didn't have someone patient, it wouldn't work just with my personality.
I was water.
Yeah, he was water to my fire. He could calm me down, bring me down, and the way he like we can have a conversation and I feel like he is very respectful in the conversation, and he's able to speak to me in a respectful way, but also in a patient way, and give me that ability to realize when I've done something wrong on my own, and then come back and have that conversation.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, because if you don't know what you need and what you want and who you are, you just have empty lists. You just have lists just because you think it's going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But if you create a list based on who you are, not your friends and what your friends want or what your friends
or even
like.
just what it says online. I mean, you can come up with like a skeleton. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously we talked about you need someone respectful, you need someone who can communicate with you effectively, and
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. But like when it comes to, oh, like someone else likes this, so it probably will be good for me. Like that isn't necessarily a reason for it to be that it would be good for you. So
Yep.
it takes a lot of introspection, like looking inside yourself.
Yep. Ironically, I think the first step in finding a good partner is to first find yourself. If you do not know who you are, you do not know what your likes, your needs, your wants are, then you really don't have any parameters set for someone that is trying to get to know you, and someone that's trying to figure out if they can fit within your parameters. There's no guidelines. So it can be anyone. It could be anything. And you really can't say no because you don't know why you would say no or why you would say yes. You're just going off of emotions. And that's only going to lead to, like, later on realizing, hey, I actually don't want this. I don't like this. I don't need this. And things could just be a little bit more difficult, and you could probably prevent it earlier on. Like, I knew that it would be much easier, it would be much better if we had the same belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it so much easier, because we can relate. I don't have to convince you or convert you.
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing what you need, knowing what you want, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I want to be a doctor, or it's not like that, because all of that can change. But if you're saying that I need someone patient, don't don't consider someone that is completely impatient because of some other things if you know that that is a need, that is a requirement, a hard requirement. You know,
Yeah.
don't get caught in the tiny details though.
Yeah. But like the tiny details, like think about it. Like me saying you needed to be, like, let's just say tall. Why do you have to be tall?
Mm-hmm.
What does that actually matter in the grand scheme of our
Yeah.
relationship? And first of all, I'm 5'2". I could have been with anybody any kind of height. So I didn't really need him to be tall, but it's
Mm-hmm.
great that you are.
Yeah. But yeah, finding yourself, knowing who you are, knowing what you want, that way you can create a set of guidelines for yourself and for whoever you're potentially considering. That will be the root. That will be the starting point for everything. That will allow you to start filtering, because when you don't filter, you get exhausted, and anyone is going to be considered.
Yeah, anyone can be an option. If you don't have like parameters, you could literally end up being in a relationship with someone that doesn't even align with what you want, but you didn't think about what you actually wanted in the relationship, and you're kind of just going with the flow. And people, you can get caught up. You could end up completely falling head over heels in love with someone, and their vision, their belief system, their goals for their life have no way of integrating or aligning with yours.
Yep. So they got to be compatible. You got to have some kind of compatibility. It just makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes it so much easier. Okay, so the second tip that we have for finding a good partner, and it's in no particular order, is don't change for every single person you meet just so they like you.
So are you saying to change for some people?
So I think it's like an onion, right? You have different layers.
What?
And you put, like, I think everyone puts on some sort of a mask when you're trying to impress someone you don't know completely. You know, you want to put your best foot forward, and that's what that means. You're putting your best foot forward, and you're not exaggerating, but you're putting forth your best impression or your best look. You're gonna put on the makeup, do your best clothes and whatnot.
Why you say makeup?
What do you mean? Because that's a typical thing people do.
What about the guys? What are the guys doing?
See, for me, I had a really nice slim fit suit. All of my other suits was
he had the one suit, so he put on his only good suit.
Wearing slim fit, but if I knew I was gonna try to meet somebody, I would put my best foot forward. You know, the best that I had.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, and you know that's okay. But at some point you gotta make sure that you stay firm with who you are, because the more that you change, every time someone says, I want a girl that's like this, or I want a guy that's like that, and then you take that and then you say, okay, I'm going to become that. You're not that. You're going to try to become that. And at some point, you're going to get tired of lying to yourself. And it's going to show, and it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt someone else. And you're going to be left lost, feeling lost. Like, where did I go wrong? You're going to end up blaming someone else for you changing for that person.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I feel like it's important that we make the distinction that personal growth is necessary, and that's okay. And that is, I guess, a different form of change than changing just because you think that's what the other person will need or like in a relationship. So, like, for example, with me, how I mentioned I needed somebody really impatient, partially because I was very impatient.
You needed someone impatient?
Oh no, sorry.
I never heard anyone say that.
I needed someone patient, partially because I am impatient. Someone that can work with me and that I can have that personal growth so that I can become more patient. But I don't feel like me working and striving towards being more patient is, I guess, an unnecessary change that I need to make. I recognize that that's something I can do for myself. And I know that would only help like with whatever relationship I'm in.
Yeah, so it's very important to understand what should be something that you know personally you need to grow and evolve with, and other things that are just uh, it would be great to have, but it is a preference. Meaning, how we talked about certain things that you need universally for a good
Mm-hmm.
relationship to happen. Look for those. And if that person doesn't have the thing that you need to have a good relationship, it probably won't work out. Um, but definitely don't stifle your growth, and don't limit your growth for anybody, not even what you think you want.
Yeah.
You
And,
know,
really just don't turn into someone completely different. Like, you are going into this relationship as a person, and you want to recognize yourself inside the relationship as well.
yeah.
Like, you don't want to be someone different. And that's why it's really important to learn who you are and go through that journey to
Mm-hmm.
figure out who you are and, what you want in a relationship. And, it's kind of it's a process
Yeah. And how long do you think it'll really last?
if
If
you're pretending.
if you're pretending,
Yeah.
that can get really tiring, and you'll
It's
be
it's like a con. It's like
yeah,
a
a long con.
yeah.
But that also maybe expose something as far as like your intentions.
Mm.
Maybe you're not in it for long term. And maybe that will help you identify, maybe I'm not really in it for the long term if I'm not willing to make myself vulnerable to show the real me. um, because the real you isn't the person that you're trying to be. Every time someone says, I want a man that's like this, and then you hurry up and you try to adjust
And I
yourself.
I can be like that. I can do that quickly,
Hmm.
but if that's not who you are, you're changing for someone else.
You're not. It's not gonna last.
Hmm.
Okay, so don't change yourself for every single person you meet just so they like you. But make sure
Personal
you
growth is
continue your
necessary.
personal growth. Yeah, personal growth is
Personal
necessary.
growth is necessary for sure.
So the third tip for finding a good partner is make an effort.
Yes. So this one is pretty interesting. So think about it like this. So there are a lot of people who say that they want to find someone,
Hmm.
but they don't do anything different than what they have been doing. Or, let's say, for example, I need a good example of someone that, like, let's say, for example, um,
Well, I wasn't
you
a good texter, and then I realized I needed to text in some way,
yeah,
at,
yeah.
at least a little bit. Or I told you that I don't have a lot of time, but if it was gonna happen at all, I needed to make some time.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, so he realized that in order to move forward with most relationships, he would need to make that improvement. He would need to make that effort to
Hmm.
make the relationship work, or to even just be able to get to a relationship.
Yeah,
So, if you think about it this way, a lot of people say that they want a relationship, but they aren't necessarily doing anything different than they have been.
yeah,
So they could be like, let's say you're looking for someone in a like someone to meet, but all you do is you wake up, you go to work, and you come home. Where do you expect to meet this person? Are they going to come to your house and knock on your door?
just drop on, drop by at work.
Just
Show up at your
show up
doorstep,
at your job? Like,
and it happens. But like you don't want to just depend on something happening luck, and excuse yourself from the responsibility of making an effort.
yeah, exactly. And it may require some creativity. You may do things that you hadn't expected. Like, we have a lot of friends that met like from online dating,
Hmm.
or even just like through other people. And, ideally you would, meet someone your own way naturally, but uh, that doesn't work for everyone. People are meeting each other different ways.
Yeah.
We actually, when we were on a cruise, like somebody said that they met on World of Warcraft. It's like
Hmm.
an online game, and we just thought that was like, whoa, like that's insane. Like, you guys were
Yeah.
just talking online. Oh, you know what? I actually so third episode we're mentioning Instant Pot. I was in one of the groups on Facebook. So if you have an Instant Pot, like there's a whole community on Facebook, and somebody said that they met their like girlfriend now, who they're now engaged to, on the Instant Pot community on Facebook. I was like, what? That's insane. Like,
Instant
what, you're
Pot's changing lives.
exchanging Instant Pot recipes? Like, like that's crazy. But like, see, I don't know how they did it, but like that was an example of like how they met in a way different than how you would typically expect.
Yeah, and I think if you feel exhausted because you're realizing that it just feels hopeless for you, like I'm never gonna find someone here or there, and you just feel so tired that you don't want to be too uncomfortable because it tires you out.
It is uncomfortable.
I think if you just look at it like live your life to the fullest that you can and stretch yourself a little bit more outside your comfort zone, I think that will at least increase your chances of finding someone even a little bit without wearing you out completely. You know, but you got to do something. You got to do something other than sitting around at your house. You got to do something that you have to.
If you want things to be different, you have to make an effort to make them different. If you want this, like you have to do things. You can't just expect things to come to you and things to happen.
Yeah, and it's gonna look different for everybody. For you, it could be you go to work and then you go to the grocery store and then you take a walk in the park and then you go home. Maybe that is your comfort zone and it's uncomfortable to go outside of that. But maybe during that routine, when you're at the park, you can see what kind of events are happening around the park. Maybe so, like
they have like all sorts of parks have like, I don't know, like concerts in the park or like
movies
book
in the
readings. Park. Yeah, like all sorts of things. And like that would be an example of somebody who goes to the park, some option that they have to step outside their comfort zone a little bit so that they can make more of an effort.
Yeah, definitely. So make an effort, step outside of your comfort zone if you want any kind of different results. Other than that, you're just pretty much hoping that you get lucky. Yeah. But it needs to be a combination. It needs to be a combination of you making an effort and luck.
Exactly.
So the next one is to be available.
Be available. So what does that look like to you?
Well, the one is the obvious. You got to be single if you're looking for another partner. But you have to have the mental space or just the space in your life for someone new. And that could be mentally, that could be emotionally. If you have so much going on in your mind that there is no space for something new, it's going to show when that person does come into your life. They're not going to receive the amount of attention and the time that they deserve in order for you to move the relationship forward. It's
like how you talked about earlier, how like the year that we met, you made yourself available, but prior to that you weren't available. And if you had tried to pursue a relationship, it wouldn't have been fair to you or me or whoever for you to try to do that.
Yep. So it's beyond time. It's making an effort. If you're not a good texter, but the other person can only text because of their job, then you have to compromise in a way to make yourself available.
I mean, if you say you're available, be available, and, really hold yourself accountable. If you say you want to be in a relationship, you say you want to meet the love of your life, but your actions don't actually match that, are you really available the way you should be to be pursuing relationships like this? Because you could actually meet the person that you should be with, and because you weren't truly available, you could miss out on that relationship because of that. So just kind of, take the time to actually be available if you say you're available.
Yeah, and I mean, you want to, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time with the option that you really think is not going to work, right? So I think it's important to also fail fast and fail completely when it comes to a relationship. If you're going to consider a relationship, it's better for you to know earlier so that you don't waste time if that person isn't going to be right for you. So if that what that means to me is you want to go out on a date and put in effort to make sure that it's a great date so that you can find out as much information about this person as you possibly can. That way you can start learning more about the person to see if they can fit best with your vision. That's part of being available, listening, really listening to what this person is saying, what they're not saying, what they do, and like being present. The more present that you are, the more you can actually receive more information about how this person integrates with your life, how you feel about this person, who they are, and it also allows you to be to share more of yourself with that person.
Yeah, and see if it'll be a good fit.
So you got to put in work. Put in work.
I agree. That's a big one.
Yeah, it's just like with any job, really.
Mm-hmm.
When you actually get into the relationship, it's going to be constant work. But don't forget that. I mean, if you're single, you know that it's work to put in, that you need to put in to find someone. So just because it's hard, that doesn't mean you're actually putting in the amount of work that you really can put. That you know. So just because you know it's hard, that doesn't mean that you're trying as best as you know you can. Like, don't get lazy with it.
Yeah.
It might actually get easier if you put in more work.
And ideally, it's worth the work you're putting in.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's be available. The fifth one that we have written down is to go at your own pace, not someone else's.
Yeah. So what can happen with a lot of relationships is you can get afraid that if you don't communicate like where you're at, so if you're not ready to become official boyfriend and girlfriend, maybe there's some things that you want to have, some conversations you want to have first, or even, past that, you don't know, excuse me, you don't know if you even want to talk to someone, but you're afraid that you may miss out. And you just go along with it because you don't know when the next best person or someone that's a better fit will come along. So you're just like, well, maybe you're getting older, or maybe a lot of people are already in relationships or they're already married, and you feel like you need to, I guess, catch up. Yeah. That can put you in a really, really dangerous position, because you're now misguided and you're distracted, focusing on other things instead of the potential relationship in front of you.
Yeah, I don't think finding a great partner that's suitable for you should be looked at as a sprint. Even if you found that person relatively quickly, I don't think it should be looked at as a sprint. I think it's more of a marathon. Because you have to pace yourself, and your pace may look completely different from someone else's, but you have to really understand what's comfortable for you and what's completely outside of your comfort zone, and you won't be able to really navigate and make the best decisions if you feel rushed, because when you rush, you tend to make decisions that you might later regret.
And and honesty and communication, they're really important in a relationship. So you may, and like, if you guys, what's the term called? If you guys don't have a meeting of the minds, or you guys don't get on the same page about where you are, where you want to be, like in the relationship. So let's say you guys just met, you guys are talking, and maybe you want to get in a relationship, or maybe with them, or maybe you don't. But you guys need to have a conversation about this, and you can't just assume what the other person is thinking, and then make decisions based on that. Yeah. So you have to communicate and like go at the pace that you're both comfortable with. You guys are partners working towards something, or that's the goal anyway.
I think people should also be mindful of the external factors that can contribute to them potentially rushing or taking too much time. Because it can go either way. Like, someone that's taking a really, really long time to even try, it might not just be on them. It might be hearing a voice in their head, or hearing someone telling them things that really diminish their self-esteem, or someone might be saying you need to hurry up and get married and get out of here, or
It's
find someone, you're getting older or whatever it may be, and then you rush and then you're not even happy.
but it's so sad how like those influences can really affect and like pressure us to go at a pace that we're not comfortable with. And it literally could be any kind of pressure. It could be your friends, it could be your perception of where your life should have been at the point that it's at. You could say, I don't know, I'm 32, I should have been married. Or you could say, I'm 25 and my parents, they were already married by now. So I meet this guy, he's great. Let's get this ball rolling. This all these things should be happening already, based on the way that their parents had done it. And it's like, you may or may not even know that you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
It's easy to kind of chase a vision rather than like, or it's easy to chase like a picture in your mind rather than being in the moment and really matching the vision that you have versus what you currently have in front of you in reality. Like you might look to yourself, you might say to yourself, I had this plan, I had this idea in my head that by this time, this is what's going to happen. And I want it to look like this. Maybe you screenshotted a picture, have the relationship goals, and you're and you're saying like this is exactly what I need, and that's it, and it needs to happen right now because of X, Y, or Z. And at that point, you're not really chasing reality and the opportunities in front of you. You're chasing something that's really hard to obtain because it's a image that you've created in your head.
It's imaginary. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have like the options that you have will be what's currently available in the world.
Yeah.
Not what's just in your mind. What's in your mind is what's going to help guide you. But don't beat yourself up and go at your own pace, because you don't want to do anything that you're going to regret later on.
Yeah. I think that would be the worst thing, if you held yourself to some standard that is someone else's, or just something that you made up, and you make decisions based on that, and then you're not happy with the decisions that you made, and you look back and you have no reason why you came up with those, or you were using that. So really think about what pace you're comfortable with as you begin making decisions in these potential relationships.
I just thought of an example. If, let's say, one person said, I really want us to move in together, maybe next month. What do you think? And then you don't want this person to go away, and then you're saying, I really like this guy, so yes, I'm ready. And you're nowhere near ready for that. You're afraid.
And as soon as you said it, you knew you weren't. You left and went home, and you knew you weren't. But maybe you were too afraid to say anything.
It's driven by fear. You're driven by fear at the moment. Fear of that opportunity being lost. But at that point, you're creating a trap for yourself, because you're going to feel like, I have to make it work now. We've combined our lives in like so many ways. We've bought furniture together.
But honestly, you don't know what that other person is thinking. They could just be saying it because maybe they have a friend that did the same thing, and they just mention it. Maybe they were pressured by one of their friends, and they're just like, well, I'll just throw it out there. And maybe they don't even want you to move in, and they're just saying it.
Maybe they were just trying to be nice.
Yeah, hoping you'd say no. You know what I mean? So that's where the conversation comes in, the meeting of the minds, and figuring out the pace that you guys are both comfortable with.
Yeah, because you'll be surprised if that person just said it because they thought you wanted that.
And then you're like, I don't want this.
Yeah. So that leaves us to our next tip, which is one of the most
kind of leads into this one.
Which is the sixth one is communication. And communication is the foundation of like all of it.
But we're talking about this as like finding someone, meeting someone, finding love. But communication is like all your relationships, your work relationships, your family, even just strangers. While you're in the store trying to check out, you need to communicate like effectively so people can understand and you guys can get on the same page.
Yeah. So even with that last example that we talked about, if that couple in the example communicated properly, then they may have been able to create a situation where they're both comfortable with, and they're both going at their own pace, and they both respect each other enough to understand, okay, that's what you want, this is what I want. We can still move forward in the relationship.
It could have just been they wanted to spend more time together. So rearrange their schedule and hang out one more day a week, and that would be enough for them. You know what I mean? Like,
but good communication allows you to get to the root of it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But it's you also got to be honest with yourself, because just communicating the like nice words that you think the other person might want to hear is not good. You know, that's not going to help anybody.
It's disingenuous.
It's disingenuous, and it's going to, like, at some point you're going to be found out. They're going to realize, okay, wait, you're not really this kind of person. You said you were patient, and you clearly aren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like imagine if I said I was patient and that's what you needed, and I wanted to say what you wanted to hear.
But honestly, that comes down to, listening to what they say, but paying attention to what they don't say and how they act.
What they
do. I firmly believe, like, you pay attention to what someone does, and basically when someone shows you how they are, believe them. Yeah. So you can't always go by what people say. Like, you have to actually listen, like watch their actions. And what was that thing about the restaurant? Pay attention to the waiters.
Oh yeah. That's something that people say constantly about dating. Like when the way that your date is treating a stranger, where they're not worried about keeping their mask on to put their best foot forward in hopes of getting in a relationship with them, then that's probably their true self. That's probably what they're going to be to you 2 months from now, when
they're comfortable.
They don't got the makeup on, they don't got the masks on, they don't got their best foot forward, they're comfortable. So you get the real person. Yeah. So pay attention to how they treat, the way that you treat everyone in your daily life is a good indicator of how someone's going to potentially treat you, especially once the honeymoon stage is done.
Yeah.
Because there is that throughout this whole time of like dating and trying to find a good partner, the initial stage is going to be a lot of magnetic connection, and it's going to be the honeymoon phase. Everything is just going to feel great, and you like don't get caught up in making rushed decisions during that stage, because the feelings will be heightened. And communicate correctly throughout that stage, because it will be very important. Be honest.
Yes, honesty. It's really gonna help you, especially when you are in situations that you really need to tell the other person something, and you are better off telling them exactly how you feel, because that's going to really help you guys build trust and help them learn more about you. Yeah. Because you're progressing towards more. So being honest with them helps them learn how you are, the way you think. So they could be with you.
Yeah. So we've established communication is one of the most important things in finding a good partner and also keeping a good partner. So I think that should definitely be added as a universal, I guess,
relationship goal.
Yeah. Good communication. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that one.
Yeah. 'Cause like the main point of trying to find a good partner, the main thing that you're trying to do is learn more about the other person and have the other person learn more about you. And the only best way to do that is to communicate properly. And if it's hard for you to do that, then it's going to be hard for you to find someone and keep someone.
Yeah.
And then our last one, and it's in no particular order like we mentioned, the last tip for finding a good partner is to not be misguided by lust.
What does that mean?
Well, we talked earlier about how in the beginning you're going to have like a strong magnetic chemistry or a strong magnetic pull. And that's like...
You're talking about the love at first sight, or are you talking about the... Just liking the way somebody looks.
I'm talking about like the entire newness of the relationship, and like maybe you didn't think this was possible. Maybe you didn't.
And you're just so happy to be in a relationship with him or her because they're
you're in a high, and during that period of you
excitement,
of that initial excitement and that feeling, that initial high, you should not make decisions that are completely rushed, because you're being guided mainly by your emotions and potentially lust. And it should, in order for you to properly analyze a good potential partner for you, you need a combination of your heart and your mind. So
reason and logic can help a lot.
Yeah.
With when you're in the relationship and you think back to, hey, remember I said I really needed this? This person doesn't have this, you know?
Yeah. But like you need the physical attraction. You need to be physically attracted to the person that you're interested in. But what we're saying is don't let that be your only guide.
Looks fade.
Looks can fade. You still need to like the person after the looks fade.
Keep that in mind. So
don't let that be your only your only criteria. If they're not nice to you, you know?
Yeah. Then when the looks fade, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you're stuck, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know when you found the one for you?
I say when you look at, so this would actually come after you've really gotten to know them. I feel like you can't really do that just after the initial introduction. So if you've made the parameters, the list of, the different things that you need based on, your personality, the way you are, the goals, your vision for your future, and you find someone that aligns with that, someone that you can envision a future with, you imagine your life together, and they're respectful to you, they communicate, I forget the other universal ones we said, but, and more importantly, you love them. You love them, you're in love with them, and you want that future with them.
Yeah. So if they check all the boxes, they're good for you?
All the important boxes.
So if they check
I had some other boxes.
So if they check all the important boxes and maybe some nice to haves, and they also feel the same way, and you believe that they're telling the truth.
Oh yeah, they have to feel the same way. That's important.
Then you found a potential great partner.
What if they don't feel the same way?
Then you have not found a good partner. There's no way to make that work.
I should ask. Okay.
Do you think that could work?
No, I just thought I should ask. I was curious what you'd say.
Yeah, that doesn't last. It doesn't last because it kind of goes back to being equally yoked. It's not just about religion and like direction in life. It's also about feelings. If you don't feel the same way, and you're supposed to be carrying the same sort of load, one person's going to be carrying more load than the other, then you're not going to go in a straight line.
But what about, we did that, would you rather? What about they're nice?
If they're nice, but they don't love you? They didn't say that. We didn't say that they won't love you.
All right.
That's a problem.
They're nice and they care a lot about you.
Then if they care about you and they're nice, then you can put in the work, have great communication, go at your own pace, and make sure that you are honest with each other, and you can have a great relationship. I think a lot of
So you think you can have a great relationship without love?
No, I think also have love. Also have love.
I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, that would you rather wouldn't doesn't.
No, not the would you rather. I'm just asking for me because I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, I think you'd need some love, because the love creates respect. The respect creates love, and without
What if they respect you, they communicate with you, they're nice to you, you guys are friends, and they have love for you, but they're not in love with you?
well, then I guess it could work, but you'll maybe feel like you're missing something.
You're definitely missing something.
Yeah, you'll be missing something without the love, because then it'll just be like a friend. But what I do know is that when you do have love for someone, it makes you care more. It makes you care more about respecting them and doing things for them. Because if you don't really love them and you're just nice, you don't do a lot of nice things just for random people that
No,
you
it's
have.
not a random person.
I
You built
know.
a relationship.
I know. So if it was a random person, there are limits to what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, s- but when you have love for someone and you're in love with that person, there's more that you would do. That's why, like when you watch movies and TV shows and whatnot, like they show the characters doing crazy things for the people that they love. But when it's for someone else, they do regular things. But that's what you'd be missing. The
You'd
care.
be missing the crazy thing.
Yes, you'd be missing the crazy things that someone would do
What?
for you.
Oh
And
my
but
gosh.
but that energy creates a sort of care and respect for the person that you're with. Because you love them so much, you will try to respect them more. You will maybe compromise more.
Mm-hmm.
Like how often do you just compromise for any Joe Schmo? You know what I'm
No, it's
saying?
not any Joe Schmo. But I get what you're saying.
But because it is someone that you love, you would try harder to compromise with that person. Not that you wouldn't compromise for anyone, but I think you'd try a little harder.
I agree.
Yeah?
I'm just testing him. I'm just curious. I wanted him to go down this rabbit hole with me.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's say you found a great person for you. You found a great partner. They checked all the boxes. Is this the only person for you? Like, do you believe in the one? Is there only one person out there for you in the world?
No, I don't think there's only one. I feel like it's kind of like a range and a scale. Like there are people who would be the absolute worst for you, and there are some people that'd be the absolute best, and everybody else kind of falls on the scale in between.
Mm-hmm.
And love is a funny thing. You could really fall in love with someone you don't expect to fall in love with.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could be in a relationship and have a very happy relationship. It could happen with a number of people, but it also takes you finding the person that's best for you, and that's where it comes being intentional and making sure that you're thinking about the things you want, because you could fall head over heels with someone that doesn't match anything that you want, and they it could work. It would be harder, but I think there can be more than the one.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I know it's like it's a big topic, and a lot of people have different opinions on it. But for me, um, I think there's so many different people out there that could potentially be the one for you, or the one that you choose.
One of the ones.
Yeah, you just choose one of the ones. Like you can make a great relationship work with one of the ones.
That sounds so weird. The way we were describing it.
Okay, so
you guys get the point though.
Yeah, let me unweird it out. I think there are so many different possible people that could potentially be a great partner for you. But the thing that's most important is, did you put in the work? Did the other person put in the work and to actually create a good lasting relationship? If you can't make those things work, even for someone that is more compatible with you, has the exact kind of vision that would integrate best with your vision, if you don't have the opportunity to make a great relationship work for them, then that is not the one for you. They might be great and they might check off all the boxes, but if you don't have the opportunity to actually make it work, then they're not the one for you, because it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's also timing. If the timing isn't right, then that's not the one for you either. And the more you can, the quicker you can understand that, the more you can get back into get back into trying, because when you get caught up and you say that was the only one.
Yeah, that was the only person for me. But this is gonna sound a little cold, guys, and I'm sorry, but if it didn't work out, then were they really the one?
If you love something, let it go, and if it comes back,
Then maybe they were the one.
And
but
maybe just because they come back.
but the point is, like, obviously, like, relationships are difficult and they take work, but if the other person doesn't want to be with you, or they aren't honest, or they don't communicate, or whatever the reason was, then are they really the one?
Yeah, I think it also creates a sense of disassociating the responsibility of trying when you say, well, they weren't the one, because there may have been something that you could have done to go outside of your comfort zone a little bit to help build a relationship, instead of saying, well, if they were the one, they would have worked. But maybe that could have been the one if you had put more effort into it.
So I think sometimes in relationships, sometimes even after, we might not take the time to look at the things we could have done differently. It's so easy to just put the blame on the other person, but the only way you're going to be able to move forward and potentially make sure something doesn't happen again the way it happened previously is to really look at the situation, remove yourself, take a step back, and look at that interaction, that whole relationship, whatever it was, and say, there are things I could have done differently too.
Yeah, you really got to look at yourself and see what you could have done better, what you've learned about yourself. I think oftentimes that burnout when it comes to dating, it comes from not being patient with yourself, not being patient with the process, and a whole bunch of other things as well. But these are the things that are just coming out in my head right now.
Not being honest with yourself early enough.
Yeah.
Because you could end up being in a relationship for a long time that you are already over, that you should have broken up, should have left, because you knew they didn't meet what you wanted. You knew it wasn't going the way you had envisioned your life, but you already put in time with that person. Yeah. You don't want to give up. If you leave, you feel like you're wasting that time that you put in. Yeah. And I don't think time is enough of a reason to stay.
Yeah, and it's actually also unfair to compare yourself with someone else's path, because there are just so many variables involved that you really don't know someone else's life. You really don't know their journey. All you can see is the end result at that moment. And to compare yourself, like, you got to just make sure that with each experience that you have, you learn from it so that you can keep moving forward, because just comparing yourself is not going to help. Comparing yourself with someone else's path is not going to help you move forward by itself.
Everyone's walk is different, and being happy for your friends on their walk because their journey is different from yours. You guys will not be getting married to the same person with the same characteristics. You guys don't have the same wants for your life, and recognizing that this journey that you're on to find, the love of your life, the potential person, that's a journey you're on by yourself. You're not bringing your friends along on your journey. You're going on that. You're looking inward at yourself, the things you need to work on, the things you need as a person, and what you need out of a partner.
Yeah, and another thing, I know we're talking a lot about this, but I think if you don't have to go through every painful experience in order for you to learn. Like, it's okay to educate yourself about, like, better communication if that's something you feel like you can work better at, and it will help increase your chances of finding someone good and keeping someone good. Talking to someone, learning about, like, more about yourself, like, educating yourself about yourself and about good good traits and good characteristics that help make a great partner, that I think that could go a long way.
Yeah. And that might involve reading books. Sometimes if you don't have great relationships modeled in your life, you may have to expand that and look outward, further in the community.
Instead of just winging it.
Yeah. Instead of winging it and hoping it turns out well.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, I mean, relationships is a huge topic, and we could talk for days about this, but we don't have days right now. I think we've touched on a lot of really good ideas about how to find a good partner.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go into our next segment, which is money for the day.
Yep. So the money for the day is fall in love with yourself first.
Okay. So you're saying I shouldn't just fall in love with someone else, the one first?
No, you have to learn about yourself. You have to really get comfortable with yourself and who you are and secure in your identity and really love who you are, because you're you. And in order to be a great partner, a great spouse, you'll need to be secure in your identity so that when you do come together with someone else, you don't completely lose who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to know who you are, or at least attempt to learn, because it could be a lifelong process. It is going to be a lifelong process, but you have to have some kind of an idea. And if you don't love yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult to convince someone else to love you. Right?
Yeah. Love yourself, value who you are, and, respect yourself. If you don't have if you don't believe that you're worth it and that you and love yourself, it will be evident. It will shine through in your interactions, and you are going to be partnering with someone and you want them to fall in love with you, and they want you to also love yourself. They want you to have high self-esteem. They want you to know your worth in the relationship and just in general.
Yep. All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
If you've made it to the end here, you are officially part of our family. You definitely know a lot more about our
little story.
Our story. And yeah, we definitely appreciate it. So one favor that we ask is to like, share, subscribe to the podcasting platforms on YouTube. Share it, because if you found this valuable at all, definitely share it with someone that you think might want to hear it or might find value in it. So until next time.
Yeah, until next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.